Mother-in-law drives 16 hours to see my baby and then shows up with two guests at my door. So I tell. The doorbell rang like a gunshot in the dead of night, shattering the fragile silence I'd fought for all day. My newborn, Lily, had just fallen asleep after hours of inconsolable crying, and I was a husk of a woman, swaying on the edge of collapse. I opened the door, expecting a delivery, only to see my mother-in-law, Barbara, beaming like she'd won the lottery, with two strangers standing behind her. I blinked, my sleep-deprived brain struggling to process the scene. Barbara, in her pristine travel blazer, looked like she'd just stepped out of a car ad, not a 16-hour road trip from Ohio. Her companions, a middle-aged man with a nervous smile and a woman clutching a designer purse, stood awkwardly, their suitcases parked on my porch like uninvited house guests. Surprised, Barbara chirped, pushing past me into the living room. I brought friends to meet Lily. My jaw tightened. I hadn't showered in 3 days. The house was a war zone of diapers, spit-up rags, and unwashed dishes. My husband, Tom, was on a work trip, leaving me to navigate new motherhood alone. I'd barely survived the week, and now Barbara had shown up with an entourage. Expecting what a red carpet welcome, I clutched Lily closer, her tiny warmth the only thing keeping me grounded. "Barbara," I said, voice shaking, "you didn't tell me you were bringing people." The man, who introduced himself as Greg, a dear friend from her book club, offered a limp handshake. The woman, Sandra, was her yoga instructor, apparently dying to see a newborn. They stepped inside, their eyes scanning my chaotic home with barely concealed judgment. Sandra cooed at Lily, reaching out as if to touch her. I stepped back instinctively. "Oh, don't be so territorial." "Emily," Barbara said, waving a hand. "They've come all this way. I told them how excited you'd be." Excited I was drowning. The last time Barbara visited, she'd critiqued my cooking, rearranged my kitchen, and suggested I wasn't bonding with Lily properly. Now, she'd brought strangers into my home without a word of warning. I forced a smile, my heart pounding. "Barbara, can we talk outside?" I led her to the porch, closing the door behind us. The cool evening air did little to calm the fire in my chest. "Why didn't you tell me you were bringing guests?" I asked, struggling to keep my voice low. I'm barely holding it together here. Barbara's smile faltered, but only for a moment. "Emily, you're being dramatic. They're lovely people, and they wanted to share this special time. You should be grateful I made the effort to come at all." Her words stung, twisting the knife of guilt she always wielded so expertly. I'd spent years trying to please her, to be the daughter-in-law she wanted, but nothing was ever enough. I took a deep breath, Lily stirring against my chest. "Barbara, I can't do this right now. I need you to respect my space. You can stay, but your friends need to go." Her eyes widened, as if I'd slapped her. "Emily, that's incredibly rude," she said, her voice dripping with indignation. "They drove with me for 16 hours. Then they can drive to a hotel," I snapped, the words spilling out before I could stop them. Barbara gasped, clutching her pearls, literal pearls, because of course she was wearing them. I didn't care. For the first time, I felt the weight of my own voice, raw and unapologetic. Back inside, Greg and Sandra were perched on my couch, whispering to each other. I could feel their eyes on me, judging the mess. Judging me? "I'm sorry," I said, my tone firm but polite, "but I wasn't expecting guests. There's a hotel 10 minutes away. I can give you the address." Greg nodded, clearly uncomfortable, while Sandra muttered something about hospitality. They gathered their bags and left, Barbara trailing them to the car, shooting me a look that could curdle milk. When she returned, she sat across from me, arms crossed. "I can't believe you embarrassed me like that," she said. I looked at her, really looked at her, and saw not just the overbearing mother-in-law, but a woman desperate to feel needed, to be part of this new chapter. For a moment, I softened. "Barbara," I said, "I want you here. I do, but I need boundaries. I'm not perfect, and I'm doing my best. Her face softened too. Just a fraction. I just wanted to help, she said quietly. I nodded, unsure if she meant it. Over the next few days, we tiptoed around each other. She held Lily, helped with dishes, and even cooked a meal burnt. But I didn't complain. It wasn't perfect, but it was a start. By the time Tom returned, Barbara and I had reached a fragile truce. She left without fanfare, promising to call before her next visit. I didn't hold my breath, but as I watched her car disappear down the street, I felt a strange mix of relief and hope. Maybe, just maybe, we could find a way to coexist for Lily's sake, if not our own. This wasn't just about uninvited guests or a 16-hour drive. It was about standing up for myself, for my family, in a moment when I felt most vulnerable. It was about learning that boundaries aren't just walls, they're bridges to better relationships. If both sides are willing to cross, what do you think? Was I right to send Barbara's friends away? Or should I have let them stay? Share your thoughts. I'd love to hear them. And